I was going to ask you because I was thinking about it, and we'll obviously refine that in our video about Andrew Tate, because I don't want these to turn into long rants. I was thinking Andrew Tate, because obviously he's coming from the Christian world's perspective. He was, like he was surrounded by Christians. Islam has been successful, or let's just say Islam has not been that conducive for new cults to emerge from within Islam. I mean, Ahmadi is one of them, is one cult. Like he behaved like a Muhammad, whatever his name is, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani. He kind of was a cult leader. He created his own offshoot from within Islam. Baha'is maybe another one, but they kind of kicked them out too. But other than that, we don't have. Islam has not been a perfect breeding ground for new cults. But Christianity, on the other hand, has been. Mormonism, Seventh-day Adventists. There's so many others like this. Who was the guy who Holy Kool-Aid, who drank Kool-Aid? There's so many. They all were coming from Christianity's idea, right?
Right.
Christianity was fundamental. So, and I reckon Islam, because Muhammad put this, like they whether Muhammad did emphasize on this or not, that's subject to debate. But let's just go with the popular mainstream view that Muhammad, the main purpose of Islam was to say that I am the final prophet. So therefore, we've had other saints coming out of Islam, like these Sufis and all. We have had many saints, men of God, but they never claimed prophethood. They never created their own cult, even though they created different sects, but not cults. There's a bit of a difference. So Andrew Tate has been coming from Christian worldview, and he, like any cult leader, these guys have they have immense self-belief, and they exhibit extreme narcissism, personality disorder, these kind of things. And Andrew Tate fits right there. Do you agree so far?
Yeah.
I have, and look at this. Andrew Tate has said so many things where he focuses more on God rather than Muhammad himself, and he has called himself a god in one of his videos. He has said, and he feels like he is fitting Islam according to his worldview, and his success has gotten to his head where he thinks that, okay, whatever I say, my followers are going to believe in him, and a lot of them do. So I have a feeling if Andrew Tate gets out of his legal troubles, he's going to create his own cult, but it won't be as successful. It would damage Islam a lot, to some extent, because all these other cult leaders like Mormons and all these other Methodists and not Methodists, Seventh-day Adventists and Jehovah's Witnesses and all these guys, they had very limited reach. Those guys had very limited reach because they were pre-internet days. Now this is post-internet, and obviously, and this is probably the reason. All those, if anyone who thinks that Andrew Tate is something special, then they are underestimating those cult leaders, because if they were alive in this day and age, they would have.
But what would you? What would he? Okay, sorry. What would he say that would be different from mainstream Islam?
Well, he would have his own moral code, and this is where we're going to lead to.
All the examples that you mentioned, right? The mainstream Christian belief that we have, there are some fundamental difference between those sects and what mainstream Islam is. That's why mainstream Christianity is. That's why they're called new sects and not within the fold of mainstream Christianity, right? So for this to happen with Andrew Tate, for example, there needs to be, for it to be considered a sect, because if it's just like a Muslim with a following, we already have that within what we consider mainstream Islam. Okay, it's not a new sect if you just have a following. For it to be a new sect, there needs to be some key differences. What would be those key differences?
Very good question, Armin. So all these other huge Muslim celebrities, Muslim apologist celebrities, like let's just say Mufti Menk, or we've had so many we know, but like even Ali Dawah, throw Muhammad Hijab, all these guys in the mix as well. All these guys basing whatever they're preaching, they're basing it on the Quran and the Hadith, right? And obviously, all these guys grew up as Muslims as well, so they understand the intricacies of Islam, or what the Islamic values are. He is an outsider, and he's learning it from outside. So all these Muslim celebrities that we know of, like Muhammad Hijabs or Ali Dawahs, or let's just say Mufti Menk, and we have hundreds of them. All of them are basing the propagation of Islamic values on the Quran and the Hadith. They're not coming up with their own. Yes, there are subtle differences across the interpretations, but they're basing it on the Quran and the Hadith. And because they grew up as Muslims, so they understand that. You would find some outliers in that, some exceptions as well. For example, Yusuf Estes was a white convert, and again, he's also basing it on Islam. The closest thing I can recommend, I can think of, is was the Nation of Islam, because they were coming from Christian upbringing, Christian background, so they contaminated Islam so much that it was never accepted by mainstream Islam. So when we talk about Andrew Tate is coming from a Christian background. He understands how Christianity works, or how the Western world or Christian world works, and he's applying his narcissistic personality on that. He has cult leader personality traits. So he's going to introduce his own. He has his own view. If anyone who thinks that he's shaping himself according to the fold of Islam, no. Or he's shaping. If you think that he is shaping himself according to the Islamic mold, no, that's not true. He still believes in. He has his own values. He interprets the world the way he sees it, and then he's picking something that, okay, what can I benefit from Islam? How can Islam benefit me? So here's some of the video clips that I'm going to show you. Despite knowing some of the obvious Islamic values, he's going against them, and he doesn't care about them. And before I play those videos, let's have a look at this video where he's behaving exactly like a cult leader. Look at this one. So this is from that Vice interview. Have a listen to this.
Whether or not they fought, all the men here paid $5,000 to the only real winner in this performance, Andrew Tate.
For the people who want to stay and relax, there's some chicks. Don't know where they're from. Yeah, let's have fun. I hope you all enjoyed it.
We're told not to film the celebrations that conclude the evening, and it's not clear exactly what goes on. But once outside the lobby, we could clearly see a room containing naked women being photographed. Whether or not they...
So, very cult-like, very typical of cult leaders who they reward men. Even Prophet Muhammad rewarded his close men with women. There are instances of, hey, which one do you want? Take them out of the war captives. So that video was just a preview of him behaving like a cult leader. But have a look at this. Now, some Muslims might say, well, this is before his Islam days, he's a new learner, blah, blah, blah. But they might still say that he's still learning Islam. No, he's not. This guy is he's a very strong personality. He believes in, once he rationalizes something, he believes in it. And this has been a reason for his success as well. And that's why he's very charismatic as well. A lot of people follow him blindly, no matter what he says. People are like, they dismiss it. Exactly how cultists do regarding their cult leader. So have a look at this is a recent interview that he did. These are excerpts from his recent interview with PBD. What's his name? Peter, whatever name is, PBD podcast.
This guy, I know this guy. This is a Persian guy.
Yeah.
His name.
Anyway, so he does one of the biggest podcasts in the world. So have a listen to what he says here.
You were talking about extremism. I would be friends with a gay person. Yes, I'm a Muslim, but I would be friends with a gay person, because if a full-grown man decides to make a decision, it's his decision to make. But I must protect innocence as a man, so I must protect children. If two full-grown men decide to have a fight, let them fight. If a full-grown man decides to pick on a kid, that's unacceptable. So I must protect innocence. So I agree with the extremism point, but I have no problem with full-grown men doing what they want to do. Maybe some Islamic scholar is going to watch this and get mad at me. I don't have a problem with gay people and being friends with a gay person. I don't care.
it's not that he doesn't know that homosexuality is strictly forbidden in Islam. He has his worldview. He's like, well, two grown-up men doing whatever they want, fine. I don't care about that, because this is how Andrew Tate's mind works. He sees that, okay, I'm okay with that. I don't care, no matter who says what about me. I don't care. That's not it. There's another one. In this video, the next elephant in the room, zina, fornication. Look what he has to say about that.
Another thing I would like to say is the reason you need to but date lots of women when you're younger, so you have choices.
Define the two?
Yeah.
Which is more important, date or sleep, in your eyes?
I feel like you don't really. I think that sleeping with a woman, you learn more about them. It's a closer relationship. So I'd say probably sleep with X amount, not crazy amounts, but I would say that. Okay, let me give an example. If I go to the supermarket and pick up an apple, and it's the only apple I've ever eaten, can I really say if it's a good apple or a bad apple? It's the only apple I've ever tasted. It might be sour, it might be terrible, I don't know. Whereas if I try 10 apples, I can tell the differences between apples. I say, what's a good apple, what's a bad apple? I think you need that degree of experience, because sometimes you'll be with a woman and go, yeah, she's great, but if you're not experienced enough, you realize she really isn't all that great, and she actually treats you like a dickhead. Whereas if you've been with enough women, you can always reference back to that girl who actually was really good to you.
Ignoring the fact that he just compared women with apples, but fine. You can you could reverse that for women as well. They don't want to try one banana. If they've ever tried only one banana, then they would not know the difference between good banana and a bad banana. So they should also try different bananas. But anyway, apart from that, the point here that I'm trying to make is that it's not that he doesn't understand Islam now. It's not that he doesn't know what he's saying is highly unacceptable within the Islamic world. The point here is Andrew Tate, in his mind, thinks he is bigger than Islam. He thinks he's bigger than that. And I don't think I think he doesn't care about Muhammad. This is and this will become more and more evident as as the situation unfolds, as we'll see the emergence of the cult of Andrew Tate. It's already there, but like the picture is going to get a lot clearer with respect to his religious views. Have a look at another video. There he's talking about God as just a concept or an idea. He's going at the utility of that.
Regardless of whether you're an atheist or not, you're thinking of God as a man in the sky, but you need to think of God as a concept as a whole. And once you do that, it's impossible to accept that he doesn't exist, right? I said to the atheist, I said, let's say there was two islands. They're shipwrecked, right? And there's two islands. Both of them are full of savages. On one island, you and your friend are shipwrecked. On one island, your friend goes and he crashes and they kill him and they eat him. And you go to another island and they want to kill you and eat you, but they don't because it's against their religion. Mm-hmm. Did God save your life? Who cares? Who doesn't even know the name of their God? But their God said, don't kill shipwrecked survivors. And now you're alive. So their God saved your life. The concept of God in and of itself saved your life. You owe God just for the concept of it, the idea of it. So even the idea of opposing evil as a whole is a belief in God. So you're either an evil person or you believe in God in some regard.
Terrible analogy. We can debunk that as well in a moment, but yeah, we'll debunk that in a moment. But do you get my picture that he understands Islam enough now that homosexuality is forbidden, zina is forbidden, fornication is forbidden. God, you don't look at it from just the concept part. You have to accept it as a reality. You don't look at a utilitarian principle that it is just useful, although some people use that as an argument. But that's not the main reason. You have to accept that God is a reality. And no matter what he wants you to do, child marriage or not, sex slaves or not, you just have to accept it. Andrew Tate is, because he's coming from the Christian background, which is very fertile for creating new cults, but he's applying that in the Muslim world. Now, I have a feeling that he's already very successful. He has an army of millions of people who just blindly, devotedly follow him. So, and amongst Muslims as well. So it's going to damage Islam to some extent, but eventually it's going to unfold and people are going to start hating on him. What do you think about this theory so far?
Well, I would be surprised if it hasn't already started. The things that he have said, I could argue, if I put my conservative Muslim hat on, I could argue that it takes him out of the fold of Islam. What he said. The things that he showed me are different enough for this to be a new sect if it grows. And there's 2 points to this. First of
Sect or
all,
a cult? Sect or a cult? Because I want to differentiate between sect and a cult. Because sect is something that is
How would
still
you-
within the fold of
cult,
Islam,
yeah,
basing
yeah.
on Quran and Hadith, the mainstream. Because Islam has
It's
been very
enough.
strong.
It's enough. It's
But a
enough
cult.
difference to be a cult. It's enough
Yes.
difference to be a cult. Yes, yes. There's enough difference. But this might, Andrew Tate might have been the Trojan horse that we were all waiting for, right? From 2 perspectives. One, to get more liberals against Islam, right? But also to infect Islam from within, because what conservative
magic
Muslim
bullet.
men, yes, what they celebrated was a champion, an Islamic champion that will come and popularize Islam among Western Muslim men. Well, what you have done more than that, you have done that, but you have also introduced Andrew Tate to a lot of young Muslim men that were already Muslim.
Yes.
Okay.
Who did
And
not need Andrew
now-
Tate.
and who did not need Andrew Tate, who celebrate him, who revere him, but now they're being exposed to ideas like being gay is okay, having sex out of marriage is okay. Is that what you wanted? Because that's now what he's advertising to Muslim men, young Muslim men.
But the question is, Armin, but
Mm.
but the question is, Armin, when that balloon is going to pop? Because despite of all of these, this podcast went viral. I think probably 2 million views, and everyone was talking about it. But your traditional, very conservative Muslims are totally silent on that. Hakikachu still sucking up to him. Muhammad Hijab, not a single word.
He's
etc.
doing damage. Daniel Haggard is doing damage control right now. If you go look at his channel, he's doing damage control. This is not.
Yeah.
this is
Okay.
not
Okay. Let's
ideal.
just let's just go with damage control. Like, okay, but they're still covering for him. So in the process, how much are they
Because
gonna?
he's too big. Because he's too big. Like you said, he's too big. So I would suspect that if this was coming from, based on what I've seen from people like Daniel Hagaju or other Muslim conservatives, right, who are wanting to keep Islam the way it is, they would have crucified and other Muslims who say stuff like
Let's say Yasir Qadir said that.
Okay. And this is how Daniel Hagaju is trying to excuse the fact that he has this double standard. Those are scholars. Andrew Tate is not. Okay. So it's okay for Andrew Tate to say wrong things because we have a different standard for scholars. However, the things that you showed me goes beyond a Muslim with some misunderstandings. The things that you showed me, based on Muslim conservatives' own standards, could potentially be argued that it takes you completely out of the fold of Islam. For 2 reasons. Okay? You can sin and still be a Muslim. Okay? You could have a up your ass and still be a Muslim. Okay? You could have sex out of marriage all you want and still be a Muslim. Why? Because you're sinning. And Muslims sin. Islam doesn't claim that Muslims don't sin. Islam doesn't claim that if you sin, you're not a Muslim. However, if you go ahead and claim that this is okay,
That's fitna.
that means that Hukm Khuda, the Hukm Allah, the command, you're denying the commandments of Allah. So you could drink alcohol, for example, and you're sinning and you will be punished for it unless you repent, unless you do tawbah. Okay? You will still a Muslim even if you're drinking alcohol. However, if you drink alcohol and say this is not a sin or this is okay, then done. That's done. You are no longer a Muslim because you are denying the commandments of Allah.
Yeah.
And that's what is that not what Andrew Tate did? Andrew Tate
That's exactly what he did. Yeah.
He said it's okay. It's like, I have no problem with that.
Initially, he did say, not in this podcast, but because again, like Islam, You think you can tame Andrew Tate? Get out of here. But initially he was saying that I'm learning, and like he was trying to make excuses, and Mufti Yasir Wajdi pulled him up on something. I can't remember what he exactly had said. And then, he showed his photo on a yacht, big, with semi-naked women around him, and a lot of Muslims are like, "Oh, this is haram. I know it's a part of your past, but then don't do it." And even Mufti Yasir Qadhi was not Yasir Qadhi, Mufti Yasir Al-Wajdi was also kind of sucking up to him, and he's like, "Oh, okay, look, I get it, but don't do it." And then he just pulled out that, "Oh, I'm new, I'm learning. Okay, I'm trying my best." So it can only go so far, and again, like, there are a lot of sensible Muslims who have started speaking out against him, but the popular ones, the ones who are really popular amongst Muslim youth, they are totally silent on that. For example, look at this one. How is that not horrible blasphemy? I mean, look at this. He's sitting he's reading the Quran with the Quran literally on his pee and is reading the Quran, and Muslims are totally silent over it. Imagine if let's just say you and I were Muslims, they would have crucified us for doing that. Let alone, let's not even go where women are. So I think if he gets out of this legal trouble, which I don't think he would, I think they've just upgraded some of the potential charges, or I don't know if they've actually charged him or not, but I don't think he's getting out of that. I really don't think he's getting out of that. But if, let's just say, he gets out of that, Muslims have a far bigger fish to fry than the ex-Muslim movement. You reckon this is going to be the biggest challenge to them since the ex-Muslim movement?
Maybe. I mean, we'll see. But if that happens, if he keeps growing, I can't see how that will not happen. But I can't predict the future. However, I wanted to make a bigger point because I was telling you about the sins that he were denying that there's a problem with them, like gay sex or sex out of marriage. He was even suggesting it, like he has gone above. Like when it comes to gay sex, he was like, "I'm okay with that," which I was like, that seems like you're saying it's not a sin, okay? But he didn't specifically say that. But when it comes to sex out of marriage, he was even recommending it. So I can't see how that is not a denial of that being a sin, right? So I could say that based on those, he's not a Muslim anymore, right? According to Islamic standards, okay? This is not what I'm saying, okay? This is based on Islamic scholarships that says now he has to re-enter Islam, because as of right now, he's not a Muslim. Based on, if you want to go with the traditional mainstream scholarly view, he has just left Islam. But then he said something that made it even worse. I could argue, again, I'm not saying this is definite, any of this is definite, but as a Muslim, if I put my Muslim conservative hat on, he just considered Allah to be a concept and not necessarily anything else. Like if the denying the sin part was a big no, this is 1,000 times worse. This completely takes you out of the fold of Islam. He's looking at the concept of Allah from a utilitarian, pragmatic perspective. He's looking at it not like, as I am the slave, you are my creator, you are everything that matters, me worshiping you is the whole point of creation. He's looking at it as a tool. He's looking as not Allah, the concept of Allah, as a useful tool, as a pragmatic thing to believe in, to get something out of.
There's a Quranic verse as well in that. I think this is Surah Yunus verse. This is the closest that I can think of, but there might be another one too, but I can't think of that right now. It says, "Say," this is chapter 10, verse 59. "Have you ever considered whatever provision Allah has sent down for your benefit? You have made up lawful and unlawful from it. Say, has Allah permitted you, or are you fabricating a lie against it?" or against Allah. So basically, I think there's another verse. I can't, give me a second. Maybe there is another verse which actually says that they make halal things haram, haram things halal. That's kufr. You can't do that. Hang on, let's see this. And say not concerning that which your tongues put forth falsely. This is lawful and this is forbidden. So as to invent lies against Allah, verily those who invent lies against. Okay, that's another one. So let's just show this one. So that's 16. This is your point that you're making. It's supported by the Quran. 116. Look at this one. This is Surah Al-Nahl, verse 116. It says, do not say about what your tongues describe falsely. Now Allah is addressing people like Andrew Tate here. This is lawful and that is unlawful, so that you may forge the lie upon Allah. So Andrew Tate is forging a lie upon Allah by saying what is halal, what is not, fornication is all right, it's okay to be friends with gays and blah, blah, blah. Surely those who forge a lie upon Allah do not prosper. But Andrew Tate is prospering all right, isn't it? And just to nip it in the bud, the final video clip that I want to play to you, he here himself says it, that the deen is based on how we see it.
I heard someone say once that we see the world as we see ourselves. If you're a thief, you think everyone's a thief. If you're a liar, you think everyone's a liar. And I kind of agree with that. I understood that. I also like to think we see religion as we see ourselves. I like to see myself as a person whose respect you have to earn. I like to see myself as a person who has strong, rigid boundaries. I like to see myself as a person who will stand up and say, no, that's wrong. I like to see myself as a person who's not afraid of being shamed by whatever community for saying, I don't agree with that particular ideal. I like seeing myself that way. So if I'm going to see myself that way, then I'm going to naturally align with a religion that operates within that form. I heard someone say,
it's actually what he's trying to do. I know what he said here, but he's actually the other way around. No, it's not the other way. So he basically said that the way I see myself, I'm going to align with Islam. And this is why whenever he runs into a roadblock, he molds Islam according to his own view. He's not submitting himself to Allah. He's submitting Islam to himself. And if you actually look at his entire history, he does say that, Islam does this, does this, does this, which is what I believe in. Like women have a certain role, blah, blah, blah. And then he says, which other religion is most compatible with my worldview? And that was Islam. And this is what he's doing. And that basically concludes my argument that he is recreating his own Islam, not in a lipstick Muslim kind of way, because as you said, those Muslims also say, a non-hijabi woman would say, yes, Allah expects me to wear a hijab, but I'm a sinful woman, I'll turn to it, blah, blah, blah. That's been a traditional modus operandi of all these lipstick Muslims. But Andrew Tate is an outsider. He's not doing that. He's saying, no, my mind cannot see why you cannot sleep with X amount of women before marriage. That doesn't make sense to me. So therefore, I'm going to ignore that part of Islam. And I'm going to create my own rationale, why it should be allowed. So this is a new cult, an offshoot of Islam. For once, it's not coming out. It's not an offshoot of Christianity. It's an offshoot of Islam. And as we said, I think as this whole Andrew Tate phenomenon grows, if he gets out of his legal troubles, then I think it's going to be very interesting.
It's going to be very exciting. I can't wait to see what happens. But I think we're going to be. This is years of content,
entertainment. But Armin, but you didn't answer my question. When is this bubble going to burst? Though, like sooner or later, they're going to realize that there's going to be a tipping point when Hakikachus and hijabs and dawas and all these other people, they're going to be like, we cannot defend this guy anymore. But it would be a massive, I told you so moment for us. We told you. We told you guys. And then how late it would have been because according to their Muslim worldview, they aided and abetted someone like Andrew Tate, who misguided, who knows, hundreds of thousands of young Muslim men. How are they going to see that? Of course, they're going to come out of that because there's another way out for Muslims, like, Allah, do tawbah. I was wrong. They could get out of that. But as far as Islam is concerned, as far as especially the Muslim diaspora, and not only Muslim diaspora, he's very popular. Every second day, he's trending in Pakistan as well. Andrew Tate phenomena. Like, I mean, these guys who did not know it need Andrew Tate in their lives. They're idolizing Andrew Tate's lifestyle. They're like, yes, pussy, you know? And
we're going to get to a point where these Muslims conservatives who supported Andrew Tate, they're going to notice how some people are saying this is okay because they're going to say more, they're going to refer more to Andrew Tate to see whether something is okay or not than Muhammad himself, right? And that's when you know you have a cult, right? When Andrew Tate is the role model and not Muhammad.
He's going to lose a lot of Muslims at that point who are still defending at that point. But I'm telling you, I'm predicting you, this guy sees himself bigger than Muhammad. He is above Muhammad in his own worldview.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine Andrew Tate accepting, like, okay, yes, I was wrong. All of this is wrong. Everything that is a sin, I'm not gonna do. I'm gonna accept that these are sin. Like Andrew Tate coming like, oh yeah, you know what? Islamically, it's not okay to be gay, and I'm gonna accept that this is a sin. Also, sex, you have to wait until marriage because I'm accepting it because Islam says so. Can you imagine? I can't imagine that. Like
he initially, remember when he was converted to Islam, he initially played his cards cleverly. He did say, "Oh, I'm learning," you know, like, "Oh, I'm not." Whenever people showed him his debauchery videos or photos, he did not directly himself say it, I think, but a lot of his fans, Muslim fans, were saying, "No, these are pre-Islamic days. He did not understand that." Blah blah blah, Zamane Jahiliya kind of thing. But anyway, let's wrap this up with this final hilarious video, his last interview that he did with the BBC, and how much of a cult leader he is. Have a look at this.
Your website, your words.
It's not my website.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
He just denied that cobratate.com is not his website. And people are like, yep. After this BBC interview that this wonderful woman did, they forced. Yeah, it's the maximum. They forced. I mean, they flooded the BBC's. Andrew Tate fanboys flooded BBC's videos to an extent that they had to remove the video, and then I think they edited the video or something, and everything. He point blank lied to her face, and under normal circumstances, I mean, if you pull me up on something, you say, Haris, you said this. You and I are decent enough, as clever as we are, but we're decent enough. We'd be like, yeah, I would not be able to say, I did not say that. You'd be like, it's on your website, Haris. It's in quote marks. Your website. I didn't say it. And not only the website, the videos.
It's not. On cobratate.com, I have my PhD program.
It's the website you've taken down, and I wonder why those comments have been taken down.
That teaches basically how I got girls, how I met girls, how I got girls to like me, how I got girls to fall in love with me to work on webcam for me.
You have said you emotionally manipulated people here for your own financial gain.
No, absolutely not. Because that's what I did. That was my MO, was find girls, make them love me, and make them work for me. And that's how I got rich.
Your website, your words.
It's not my website.
Yes, it is. Your website.
It's not my website. Point blank lie. And by the way, guys, if you want to see more evidence of that, you can check out. We actually did a detailed video on that. There's a whole playlist of confessions of Andrew Tate. You can see that. And there's this video right there, The Confessions of Andrew Tate, episode 3, How to Get Girls to Make Money for You. He even said something like, make sure you sleep with your workers, because if you're not sleeping with them, someone else is sleeping with them. And that means they are being ruled by them. Because women are only loyal to the pee-pee they're sucking, his words, quote unquote. So here, when he's confronted with that, he simply denies it. And fair enough, liars, that's what liars do. But this is why I'm saying that he's such a cult leader. His aspirations are to create the world's biggest cult, and I can't see it going any other way. Some people will fall out of that cult, some more people will join, whatever. Like, that's going to happen. And in this case, Islam is going to lose. His fanboys his cultists are simply saying, ha ha ha, he destroyed the BBC. He destroyed that woman. I mean, if your and my lies are caught out, and none of our fans will stand by us. None of them would. And Andrew Tate himself says that, oh, these guys have followers. No, these guys have viewers. I have fans, meaning they're devoted to me, i.e. Andrew Tate. And that's the way he operates. That's the way he always wanted to operate. You and I, we don't operate that way. We want to be pulled up if we slip up. We want to be challenged, and we say, oh, messed up. Sorry, let me revise my position. So that's why there's going to be to the best of my memory, if we include Baha'i sect as a cult with Islamic foundations, and Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani's Ahmadi faith as a cult out of Islam, then this is going to be the third cult out of Islam in contemporary history, and this is going to be by far the biggest one. And boom, this hammering of Islam continues. And we'll take it.
This reminds me of Trump. How Trump also said that if I shoot somebody, in Fifth Avenue, I don't know where he said that, but my fans will still follow me. All right, and he was right. He was right. And guess what? Trump also started a new cult. Like the QAnon religion is officially by scholars is being recognized as a cult that is it's a deviation from evangelical Christianity mixed with certain Illuminati conspiracy theory, anti-Semitic views, the Red Scare, and the Satanic Panic. It's a mix of all of that. But
Satanic Panic? Is that a cult?
Yeah, the Satanic Panic.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I like the name.
Yeah. The Satanic Panic of the 80s and the 70s, I think. Yeah. So it's a mix of all of those things, plus and nationalistic also views added to that, and you have an ideology that has the branding of Christianity, but their core beliefs and traditions are surrounded by something that is not necessarily mainstream Christian beliefs. So it has all the imagery and all the some of the branding, but it is enough of a different for even scholars to recognize it as its own new modern cult. So Trump did that with his followings, and I think you're right. Maybe Andrew Tate might do the same thing.
But the unique thing is, again, the reason why I'm saying this is very significant is because Christianity, or the Christian world, has been a perfect breeding ground for cults, for the emergence of cults. Islam hasn't been historically. I'm willing to, like, I could be, there might have some weird obscure.
You should do an interview about this with a scholar of his, like a scholar that does religious history, to see what
I think I should ask, because this is a but I think this is very obvious what I just said. I think I might be the first one to say that, but some people have associated the word cult with Andrew Tate, but
no,
they haven't really.
But you're saying something more
deeper
official.
Because it's got Islam. Yeah, because it's also got now. I think I'm the first one. Probably, I'm saying that this is an offshoot. He's trying to create an offshoot of Islam.
Yeah,
I think that's something new.
I don't think he's trying to. I think if it happens without him intending to.
No, I think he's intending to. I'll tell you why. He knows
Trump,
that.
For example, Trump didn't, like, we have a new cult that is called QAnon. It wasn't pre-planned by Trump, even though it happened because of Trump. And I don't think this is pre-planned by Tate if it happens.
I get it. Yeah. But like these things, you poke and prod, and then you see, okay, what's the outcome that I'm getting? He always had this line that I have followers, devoted followers. You have viewers. Or I have fans. That shows his mentality that, okay, I want to be a person.
That part is on purpose. The part that he wants followers and fans that are devoted.
No, I'm getting to that.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm getting to that. So you can say that I think he knows that I have this charisma that I can create an army of blind followers. Okay, and then he goes to Islam again. Probably he was attracted to it that, you know, there's certain things really good about Islam, blah blah blah. He was attracted to it, but then as he is evolving, as he's learning more about Islam, he's not willing to submit to Allah. He's like, he's a strong person. He has strong opinions about everything. He's a very strong, rigid worldview. And he's like, screw this. I am going to put my foot down. And because he already knows that people follow me very devotedly, so I'm going in this direction. So he's going to stay within he's going to keep up with the appearances that I'm a Muslim. And then he's going to go. Like, if you look at all these emergences, like Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadiani, that's the best example of Ahmadi cult that started because of that was built upon Islam. He also was initially a revered Islamic scholar, kind of like a Mufti Menko of the 19th century. And then it emerged to a point where he started writing his own books and he started giving out his own moral code. And then it ended up becoming a cult. So yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, he's probably making it up, like he's seeing the results as he goes along. He might not. There was no day in 2019 when he said, "You know what? I'm going to create a cult on the basis of Islam." So he probably never did that. But I think he probably knows at some point. But I think that's irrelevant anyway, whether that's intended or unintended. We are consequentialists, so we look at it which way it's headed.